I'll usually come up here and I'll start to look at the different areas, and either through scraping away or through addition. But you can't really get that distance when you're right on top of something this big, when you're sort of at the base of it. And this, even though you still have distortion this way, it gives you an idea what it would be, not unlike that being on a wall. I think I want to do something here, and then we're gonna, I think, call it a day on this one. I mean, this is a lot like printmaking in terms of stopping areas out, like you would with a resist. In my ink studies, I'll do this with rubber cement. I'll take rubber cement and block out an area. Pretty good, I like that. You know, when this dries, I may do a thin patina over top of it. This is perfectly in color theory. And I would want it in that middle area. Preserve that. The reason why these are modular is if this painting were actually 8 by 12 feet, I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to manipulate or even to edit in the interior of the painting, because it would just be too hard, not unless I developed some sort of scaffolding system. I don't think there's any plastic under there. When the paint gets this thick, it's kind of hard to know. Doing the large-scale paintings just feels right for me. I mean, you know, there are a lot of whys and wherefores and this, that, and the other, but it's just a scale that feels comfortable for me. And I think with the kind of training that I have and the various influences starting off in art school in New York City, I had to get out of Philadelphia. You know, I'd spent most of my childhood here, and it was just time to get out of here. And I went up to New York for a couple years, 2 years for school, and then I moved back up there a bunch of times for a year, 2, 3, and then would come back here kind of feeling defeated. But you know, I really cut my teeth as an artist, I feel, in New York City, even though I really feel I'm a Philadelphian. But you know, when I think about the kinds of painters that are meaningful for me, they were the New York school. They were you know, Klein, Pollack, Rothko, Motherwell. You know, even though I was in school in New York City in I guess 1980, 81 through about 83, it was a great time to be in New York City. There was a tremendous art boom there. You know, I lived in Soho at the time, and I saw some amazing Schnabel and David Salle shows at Mary Boone. You know, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like David Salle, and actually I don't really care so much for his new work, but you know, to quote my father used to say to me, actually when I was thinking about being an athlete, a baseball player as opposed to a painter, he would say, well, you know, it's apples and oranges, and either way, you're a pig in you know? I mean, you're doing something you love doing, and how many people really have the opportunity to do that? I mean, most people, you know, including myself at various times, we do things for money that we don't necessarily like. But at any rate, you know, I kind of saw the New York scene, and for me as a young student, sort of cutting my teeth, or a young artist, you know, at that time in the 80s, there was so much money going around that the sky was the limit, you know. Anything sort of qualified as art. And yeah, some of that stuff hasn't really panned out over time, but some of it did, you know. And to walk into there was a show that Mary Boone had, I don't know if it was Schnabel's second or third show, but she gave Julian the whole gallery, and he used it as a studio for like 3 months. She closed the whole place down. There was paint everywhere. Her floors, she had to replace her floors afterwards. I think she went with like poured concrete after that because the floors were devastated, paint splattered on the walls. And I knew some artists that walked in and thought it was really pretentious. You know, I just thought it was amazing. He had those paintings that were on the huge, they were on like barn joists. They created these tees, and they were plywood, and they were, I never really cared for his, the things that made him famous were those plate paintings, which I never really liked. You know, I preferred when he used spray paint, house paint, and to me, You know, I mean, one of my favorite painters is Jackson Pollack, but you know, but for me, other than Pollack, nobody does that sort of gestural drip like Schnabel. Schnabel, there's a confidence to his mark making. You know, he'll make a piece, a kabuki backdrop with this image or that image, and you know, then he'll do a pour or a mark across it, and with such confidence. And you know, as a student, to see that kind of confidence or bravado was just really had an impact for me. You know, I really feel like I've gotten back to where I need to be. You know, life takes you in a lot of different directions. You take a lot of forks that kind of can knock you off track, and this is what I'm happiest doing. You know, this kind of work. You know, to be cliche, I think it's what I was put on this planet to do. You know, I don't have, you know, I say that with, I think, 95% confidence. You know, I mean, there's always the possibility that somewhere down the road, you know, I may something may shift me into something else. But you know, I think this is the beginning of it. You know.
Hold up, baby, stop, shake it, then drop. Hold up, baby, stop, now roll it to the top. Hold up, baby, stop, shake it, then drop. Hold up, baby, stop, now roll it to the top. Hold up, baby, stop, shake it, then drop. Hold up, baby, stop, now roll it to the top. Hello, how you doing? You done caught me by surprise with your nice pretty eyes and a pair of thick thighs. I'm a guy that I ride with a chick on his side. If it get down and dirty, she's funny, I'm glad. Don't lie to me, mommy.